I think I have enough room here. With
Yeah, I'm fine.
I don't know. No,
Hi.
I do, yeah, learning sponsors, a year of learning, friends of Herb Jeremiah, Svi Ben Zev, friends of Sam Coleman, Shmuel Ben Yaakov, friends of Gideon Lazinski, Mordechai Shlomo Ben Meir, Bella and David Adler, in memory of her father, Eliyahu Ben Yosef Cohen, those who were inspired by Rebbetzin Emerita, Sheila Shapiro, Sarah Esther Malkabat, Mishum Yisachar, Gail and Wesley Kaplan, in memory of their parents, Mushka Sprinzabat, Yosef Chaim Bechava, Hanan Ben Moshe Eliezer Bechana, Pesha Bat Shmuel Yitzchak Halevi Bet Zipporah, Isra Ben Yoel Moshe Cohen Bechana, Rexford Friends of Gladys Sherman, Gutta Bad Meir, Michael Klein and Friends of Judah Klein, Yehuda Tzvi Ben Chaim, Marsha Brana in memory of her husband, Harav Yerachmiel Ben Shmuel, friends and family of Arthur Ritholtz, Mordechai Yudel Ben Baruch Leib HaKohen, friends and family of Siggy Bessler, Shalom Shraga Ben Dov, friends of Marvin Weinstein, Mordechai Ozer Ben Yisrael Aharon, Sarah Alpert in memory of her husband, Harav Tzvi Lipa Ben Hillel, a month of learning by Rabbi Dr. Yankee and Malki Honig, in memory of his mother, Rabbanit Hensha Ita B'Chaim Yehuda. Hannah and David Grunblatt, in memory of her mother, Roisa Bas Chaim. Jill and Perry Meltzer, in memory of her father, Yaakov Ben Yosef. B. Pizer, in memory of her stepfather, Avram Michal Ben Shmuel Halevi. B. Pizer, in memory of her mother, Razel Bat Shammai. Jerry and Sharon Glassman, in memory of his mother, Malka Yehudis Baseliyahu. Henry Katz and children, in memory of his wife, Lila Lemea Minka Bat Yehuda. Mel and Haran Haller, in memory of his mother, Fega Bat Yaakov. Andrea and David Dolney, in memory of her mother on the 20th yard site, Ayel Tzina Bat Shimshon. Josh and Carol Sanborn, in memory of his father, Shmuel Aryeh Ben Baruch, and his mother, Chiana Bas Aryeh Leib. A week of learning by Isaac Evelyn and Isaac Blackhor, in memory of her mother, Pero Rivka Bat Rab Menachem Mendel Eliezer. Dita Luxemburg, in memory of her mother, Martha Gitler, Shana Bat Yeshaya. Baruch and Dina Rabinowitz, in memory of his father, Zeb Ben Chaim. Rena and Alan Mosak, in memory of her father, Meir Ben Yosef. Harriet Brick and Rabbi Moshe Kranzler, in memory of David Dolney's sister, Deborah Dolney. Today being the 5th of the month, Alvin Ribiat, a day of learning, in memory of his mother, Bela Bat Moshe. Rabbi Moshe Kranzler, in memory of his brother, Gershon Ben Yerachmiel. May the Shemas have an Aliyah, Cranker, Afia, Velti, Yeshua, Shemat Leah, open Israel, good Gebenchte.
Get another one then.
Okay. Well, I might have read this line yesterday. We'll start from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines from the bottom. And I'll just get us into context. We mentioned that we, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines from the bottom. Ella. Sorry, 5B. Hey, I'm a base. Yeah, 5B, 6 lines from the bottom. Ella Hall. So to put us in context, we had yesterday the Rabbi Yochanan that said that the reason for the vow in our Mishnah is essentially because there was no need from the Torah to have such a vow, but the rabbis wanted us to have the vow in order to stop, because people will just go, they see somebody found something, they'll go and grab it. That's all. They'll lay claim to it. So to make them swear, they won't do it. We'll make them swear. So we have a problem. Everybody asks the question. The guy's willing to transgress and to steal, he'll be also willing to take a false vow, to take a false oath. So the answer is, according to this opinion, you have to say no. These people will not take a false oath. And we kept finding cases where it looks like we're debating whether people will or will not take a false oath once they transgress. We found some places that we saw that people won't take a false oath. We kept saying they're not people who really steal. They're people who rationalize. As everyone agrees that people who rationalize will be put off by a false vow because they're not really people who are out and out thieves. You understand? They're people who are rationalizers will be put off. They won't take a false vow. But a true thief, we arguing will. That would be against Rabbi Yochanan. So we're in the middle of this argument. So now Elohah, it's in that line, Elohah, the Amar Abuna. So we were debating, is it true? I just want to explain one thing which is important. We're looking towards our tradition to see how our teachers looked at this point. Remember, here in any functioning legal system, you have to have. We can say we don't know. We can say we don't know, but we have norms, and we have norms. So we look to see what's the way to look at these things. And you have to understand part of why is it so important to have a rabbi, and why can't a person just to become a scholar and that's it? You know, you go to the library and become a scholar. The answer is because the Torah is a set of value judgments that are handed down throughout history. And our rabbis taught us, you understand, that weighting, W-A-I-G-H-T, weighting system. And that's what we learn. That's our tradition. You're right. There's more than one way to look at things. You have to see, but what's the way that our teachers taught us to look at it? What's the way to go about it? Yeah, look, any given person might be this way, that. What's our norm? What's the way that we should look? Should we assume that a person who transgresses will swear falsely or not? So we look into our tradition to see how our teachers looked at it. And you need traditions. Here, give an example. Today, everybody emphasizes one. Oh, Yom Kippur. Oh, life is the most important thing in the world. Fasting, better, don't fast. Don't fast. Okay, it's true. We're very stringent about protecting life, but you realize that it's a privilege to fast on Yom Kippur. Rabbi said it's a privilege to fast on Yom Kippur. Maybe Rabbi, maybe there's a way you could fast. Is there a way you could say you could fast? You see what I'm saying? We're looking, listen, the main thing is don't fast. Slow down. It's a privilege. It's one of the greatest privileges in the world to fast on Yom Kippur. It's a tremendous privilege. Rabbi, is there some way, maybe you could be lenient, let the guy fast? You understand what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We're so busy, okay, it's true. We have to worry about a person's life. Maybe this way the person can fast. Is there some way to be lenient and let him fast, let him fulfill the mitzvah? You see what I'm saying? It's not the way you look at it. So you have to, there are attitudes over here. So we have to see what the right way is. So now, what's the way you should look at it? A person who transgresses will swear falsely or not. So we said, what we learned. So we make when the watchman says the object was lost or stolen or whatever happened to it in the way that I'm not obligated, we still make the person swear that they don't have it in their possession. Now, obviously, pardon me. I'm sorry. Yes, I also made a mistake. It's a case where the person says, "Listen, the watchman is supposed to swear that swear that the object was disappeared in a way that he's not obligated." But he says, "You know what? I don't want to swear. I want to pay. I'm too religious. I don't want to swear. I'll pay you the money." Very nice. He might be a very religious guy. He also might be a guy who decided he likes his friend's thing and he wants to buy it. You understand? He might be a thief. You understand? So what do? So he says, we make him swear that what? That it's not in his possession. Okay. He starts to swear. No, he says anyway. He doesn't want to swear that he's not responsible. We'll make him swear that he doesn't have it. That's a vow you can do. Name amigo the chashem. Why don't we say, listen, the same way we suspect him of stealing, we suspect him of making a false oath. So I'm going to say Hasanami there too. Mora, this person is not a true thief. Even if he was going to do that, he really is a rationalizer. Mora, he rationalizes. And he says, I'm going to pay money for it. I'm not really. He doesn't think of himself as a thief. He's not such a bad guy. And therefore, of course, when it comes to taking an oath, he won't back off. He won't do it. So what are you talking about? Even if this person is not really a thief, what? He's still a person who is covetous of his friend's possessions. He wants his friend's possession. Even a person who wants to pay, even pay, you're not allowed to covet your friend's possessions. It's a problem. Okay, so he's also a transgressor of not coveting. He's transgressing a law in the Torah. Says no. So how can you trust his vow? The answer is again. Here also, he doesn't see himself. He's not a true transgressor. He thinks, even though he's wrong, he thinks that not coveting is only when you want to get your friend's thing without paying. But if you're willing to pay for it, it's not coveting. The truth is, it is coveting. It is coveting. So it is coveting. So, but he doesn't see himself that way. So he's not a guy who's an out-and-out transgressor. He rationalizes. He also doesn't think he's really transgressing. He is. So that guy you can expect will back off when it comes to an oath. So you're still in trouble. We haven't decided, will a person who transgresses take a false oath or not? If they do, we still haven't proven the point. And in order to defend Rabbi Yochanan, we really need to say that a person who will transgress will still back off and not take a false oath. By the way, this point of coveting, I know they do it here, and they start doing it in Israel. And one of my peers, who was a Gadol, really, was very concerned about it. What they do is they go around and say, "Want to sell your house? Want to sell your house? Want to sell?" People come to you, "Want to sell your house?" So there's a problem, because if we say now that coveting is even when you want to buy it, so can I really go to my friend and say, "Hi, want to sell your house?" Maybe I'm transgressing the law for the Torah. I'm not coveting my friend's house, especially in a Jewish place. And we go, "Want to sell your house? Want to sell your apartment?" Wait a second. You can't covet your friend's stuff. It's a little bit of a question. We have to, okay, we'll leave that for a special class. Say over here. Maybe that's coveting. Can you go to a guy and say, "Want to sell your house?" What do you mean? The Lo Sachmod. Even if you pay money, it's coveting your friend's house. Are you allowed to do it? Okay. So now we're stuck. So we need to really defend Rabbi Yochanan. In order to defend Rabbi Yochanan, we have to say what? I know. That's why I brought it up. It's a gigantic thing. It's a big. That's it. What kind of advertising can I do? Especially but especially the Jewish, but you got a big problem. Yeah. Okay. Exactly. We got big problems up here. Okay. Yeah. No. When the storekeeper puts it up for sale, you're not trying to convince him to sell it. He's ready to decide to sell it. That's a different story. But when the guy's not selling, it's where the question comes. Okay. Now, so how are we going to determine Yochum? We really need to show that a person who transgresses still won't take a false oath. So we say, come on. But we learned the following. Remember, we said that we have a rabbinic oath that even though from the Torah you never swear to collect money. Okay, even though from the Torah, if you deny a claim completely and there's no proof against you, you're not obligated to swear, only when you partially admitted. Nevertheless, the rabbis make a shuas eses, they make a pressure vow to make him swear that maybe he'll back off. Okay, so he says, Nema, how can we do it? Since we're suspecting this guy of being a thief, Nema miga de chashed of amona chashish was. Since you suspect that he's stealing, you should suspect his oath. But two, furthermore, what Reb Chia taught us, that remember the famous case of when the guy said to the grocery man, "Pay my worker and I'll pay you back." And the grocery man says he paid it. The worker says he never got it. Both of them swear and both collect from the owner. We said both of them swear. Okay, but not only they collect from the householder. Name of here, one of those guys is definitely lying. I said one of those guys is definitely a thief. How can you let him? He's one of those guys is definitely a thief. Okay, and still you're letting them swear. How could you trust their vow? And furthermore, we learned Shalosh Shavuos Mashpino. So we learned that when the watchman says that the object was lost or whatever happened to it in a way that he's not responsible, we make him take 3 oaths. One, that he wasn't negligent with the object. 2, that he didn't use it illegally, which would have made him a thief and made him responsible for everything anyway. Okay, and a third that he has to swear that it's not a possession. Again, since you suspect him of having stolen it, so that we suspect him in the vow. Ella, so you're forced to say from these last 3 cases, I finally defend Rabbi Yochanan. So we don't say that once a person is a suspect on money, he's also suspect of swearing falsely. We say people are more careful about swearing falsely than they are about other negative precepts. Abaya says no. So, okay, good. That was Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan said, so what we said, what's the reason we have to swear? He owns what he's got anyway. He said, you're right, this is a rabbinic injunction, and there's no reason to swear. It's really the rabbis in order to stop people from deciding to go and grab their friend's garment and trying to get a profit. Abaya says no. Here's the real reason for the oath in our Mishnah. Here's what we're afraid. It's not a case where we think the guy is really a thief. We're afraid like this. What's happening? This guy really the guy who goes to grab his friend's talents. This guy really has the guy whose talents it is owes him money, and he knows if he makes that claim, the guy's not gonna. It's an old loan. The guy's not gonna ever admit to it. So what does he do? So listen, I really would have rights to this guy's possessions to the tune of half the talents or whatever the story is. Let me go and grab it, okay? and I'll be able to get my money back. And that's what. So the guys that were making swear, even that guy, he's not a thief. He's really an okay guy. And therefore, of course, you can trust him. So therefore, according to that, we don't have to, like, in order to bend that position, we don't have to say that people who will transgress will also swear falsely. Will not swear falsely. It could be what? The people who transgress will swear falsely, but there's not a guy who really transgressed. Yeah. Right. So that's the point of so the whole point of it is maybe that's the point. This guy maybe is legal. So therefore, what? We're just making sure that we're making sure that this is not really a guy who transgressed. That's the point. He's not really a guy who transgressed. And then we can argue about whether you should go and attack your friend's property. You shouldn't go and attack your friend's property. But the main point here is the real debate is the oath that we're administering to a person who we think is a transgressor or not. According to Rav Yochanan, the way we said it, yes, but we think he still won't swear falsely. According to Baya, he's not really a guy who's a transgressor. That's the okay, good. Now, if that's true, says Nishkol below Shavua. If the fact is that it's a Baya, if the fact is you really think that the guy who's grabbing the talis is really a guy who's owed the money anyway, he has rights to that amount of the talis. So then why are you making him swear? So let him get it. If every guy who does that, all you're really suspicious of is what? Is the guy who really was owed the money anyway, so let him get it. Here's why. What we're afraid of is what? It's only a doubtful loan. He's not sure that the guy has the money. It's maybe the guy owes him the money. And therefore what? So now he says, and since the guy's not going to swear on a maybe, you understand? So the swearing is going to make him back off. He's irrationalized. Okay. Okay, toughest mamona misveka mishtaba mamisake. Okay. Now he says, 1 second, says the Gemara. You want to tell me what? That we don't say that we don't say, don't we have to worry that a guy who grabs money even in doubt will swear doubtfully? In other words, you're assuming that since it's only a doubt, he'll back off. Maybe it's not true. If a guy's willing to grab another guy's property because maybe it's his, maybe willing to swear because maybe it's his. Okay, maybe I'll do the same. This is partial suffix shvua, or the partial money. Says no, that's human nature. A person's willing to grab his friend's property because maybe it's his. He's not willing to swear that it's his because maybe it's his. That far, people don't go. They back off. There's my timer. What's the reason? And there's a good logic to it. He says, money you can always give back. If I grab my friend's money because I think I owe it, in my mind is listen. If I find out I'm mistaken, I'll give it back. What's the big deal? But if I swear, I can't take back the oath. See the difference? I'm willing to grab my friend's money on a doubt. Why? Because I'm a good guy. If I'll find out it's not mine, I'll give it back. But if I swear falsely that it's mine, I can't take back. I can't undo the oath. So there's a logic to it. They used to have in Europe. The joke was a guy would say, a Jew, would say, for $5 I'm not going to be a thief. You understand? It's a famous line. What's the implication? 10, I'll think about 100. Okay, I'll do it. Yeah. Oh, so that's a good point. So that's what before you walked in, I said we have to look to our tradition. It really is everything, right? And you should know, by the way, if a person wants to be a judge, if you want to judge monetary cases, you got to go to the market. You can't sit in the basement and you have to go out. You have to go out and learn how people do things. When I was first had the yeshiva, so I came to America. So a guy did me a favor. He took me in New York. They have the Diamond Dealers Club. But that's the Bourse of New York. That's that's where they sell diamonds. So the guy says, look, take me and help me out. Maybe I'll collect a little money. I'll be able to collect a little money. So in the Bourse, in those days, it's changed now. But in those days, it was mostly Jews. And you had also Japanese. But what was the minhag over there? How did you close the deal? He said, Mazel bracha. You closed the deal. You shook hands. He said, Mazel and bracha. And the Japanese guys, the Japanese guys said, Mazel bracha. They all said that was the minhag. But what's the point? The judge, if you want to be a judge, it's your obligation to know that in the Boursa, deals are closed by saying Mazel and bracha. That's a Kenyan. That's the way it's done. You have to know. If you don't go out, so I'm just trying to say, really, rabbis who deal with monetary cases, they have to get out and see how the market runs. If they don't, they can't. You can't do this as an academic. So the answer is they did. Yes. The answer simple answer is yes. They did. I saw Rabbi Goldberg Zitzal, who was Mamash Golador. Yeah, he interrogated business people. Yes, in order to learn how things were done, yes, so to give a proper judgment. He learned very well how the market worked. Yes, and today you have to know, not last year, and a lot of the things we learn here that may have been the case then. It's not the case now. You have to know. And if you don't, no scholar can know how to judge monetary cases if he doesn't go and investigate how the market works in his day and place, time and place. So that's 100%. The answer they did, but here also, this is not just that. This is also human nature. And I told you the mistake. There's so many books that are silly because they focus on a few things like Torah and psychology. I told you if you want to write a Torah, you can write a great Torah and psychology book. You should analyze all the rabbinic injunctions and decrees. Why? Because there the rabbis revealed to you how they really understood human nature. But they were incredible students of human nature, and that's exactly the point. Okay, good. All right. So now we're about to start one of the most difficult sub pieces in the entire Talmud. Everybody has a hard time with this piece. I'm going to make believe that it's not as hard as it is. It's very hard. It's impossible. But I'm going to make believe that it's easier, and I'm going to try and convince myself. But I'll try and say it as simple. It's not simple at all. So it's one of the hardest pieces around. Most yeshivas with the kids that skip it. They skip it. Okay, so now, boy rubs in. Okay, he has a new question. Talk for Echad b'fanim. We know the guys came in, the classic case. We now know what to do. They're holding on to the talis. They both swear. We divide it. What happens, he says, while they're in front of the Beis Din, before we make them swear, one of them pulls it out of the hand of the other. One guy takes he's stronger. He takes it out. He's got full possession of the talis in front of us. Mahu, what's the law? Somebody says, what do you mean? What's the question? Well, that's silly. We saw him today. Obviously, they walked in, they were both in possession. The fact that this guy's a thug is not going to change anything. What's the question? Well, he says, hey, dummy, what's the question? He says, we saw what happened. Either shusik, if the guy was pulled away from, was silent, obviously then he's giving up. He's admitting that it's not his. Either if he's protesting when the guy's taking it away, what else is he supposed to do? Obviously, he maintains his status quo. He's still, the fact that the guy's stronger than him doesn't take away his possession. He's got it. That's right. That's not the question. Here's our question. The shasik meikara, while the guy starts to pull it away, he's quiet. And only later, after the guy's got it, then he protests. So we don't know how do we interpret it. The shasik do we see from the fact that he was silent at the beginning, he really admitted it's not mine. Dilma came into Katzava Chashta, since he's protesting later, Iglai Milsa, so it reveals retroactively the Shasik Mikara, the Shasik Mikara, that the fact that he was quiet at the beginning, he was only silent, not because he was admitting. The rabbi sees, he's taken away in front of me. I don't have to protest. I don't have to say anything. We have other places. If a guy calls you, usually we have a rule, shtika kahoda. If a person is silent, it's like admitted. If somebody calls you a slave, you don't have to answer. You have to say, that's stupid. Everybody knows I'm not a slave. Don't do that. Your wife, don't answer every question. The guy's making a mistake. The wife says, do you love me? Yes. What do you mean? Of course I do this. You're out. You lost the argument already. If you have to prove the point, you lost. Never do that. Never answer. When she said, the ducks fly? Does the sun rise in the morning? What are you talking about? Anyway, I'm just thinking. So we sometimes you don't have to answer. But otherwise, Fiddler, as that's in Fiddler on the Roof? Fiddler. And what does he say? Okay, that's it. The best. What are you talking about? Is that a question? Okay, so now, but over here, although here we don't know how to interpret it because he was first quiet, which really looks like admission, and then he screams later, so we don't know how to interpret. Now, I'm Rav Nachman. So Rav Nachman says, Toshma. He says, I'm going to bring you a brisa that proves the point. When do we say that let the law of our mission of the two people are going to split the talis, when both of them were holding it? But if the talis was really only in one of their hands, obviously then the person who wants to get it, anybody who wants to take it out of the possession of one has to bring a proof. So the Gemara says, 1 second, that doesn't make any sense. That is so obvious. That can't be the case of the Bryce. Everybody knows. And one person's in possession, nobody can get it out of his hand without a proof. He says, if you read it simply, Pshita, it's obvious that he has to bring a proof. This guy has it, that guy didn't. Ella must be what? What's the chiddush of the Bryce? What's the point it's teaching us? Here's what happens. It's exactly our case. One of them grabbed it in front of us. Okay, that's what must happen. And he was quiet when it started. And after the other guy got it, he screamed. And we said, no matter what, even so, even though now, after the fact it's in the hand of one, still, for the first guy to get out of his possession has to bring proof. So you see what? You see that the grabbing of the first guy in front of us works, and we interpret the silence originally to be what? To be admission. So you
Admission is 9/10 of the law.
Yeah. But he screamed later. But all this again, this is the norms that they understood. So usually when a guy has to fight for his money, everybody knows you don't if you don't speak up, you're admitting. That's the norm. Okay, good. Well, not might makes right. No, silence is an admission. Silence is an admission, even when a guy screams late. That's what we're saying. That's what we're saying now. Okay, good. So Gemara says that must be the case. Gemara says, come on, get out of it. That's not the case of the Brisa. I can easily, and since the case of the Brisa is not explicit, you explained it your way. I'll explain it my way, and you explained it in a way that proves your point. I'll explain it in a way that doesn't prove your point. This is what the Brisa is talking about. Came in the Atul Kaman, okay, the Tefisula Tabayim. What happened was they both walked in holding it together. And then we said to them, okay, could go. They walked in their normal case. And then we told them, Zilu, Plogu. We did it normally. We said, okay, now go split it up. Go out and sell the thing and divide it, cut it, whatever you want to do, sell it, divide it. Then they left the basement. And they come back. They come back when one guy's in possession. He says, hi, Omar. This guy says, the guy who has it, he says, yeah, he admitted it was really mine. So it's mine now. The hi, Omar, the other says, get out of here. But I rented it to him to use it. So now what do? We originally saw them both in possession. We told them to split it. Now they come back. One guy's got it. He says it's really now it's his. The other says I never gave it to him. So now he says, so what's the chiddush of the Brisa? So what do you mean has to do with it? We say to the guy who doesn't have it, up until now you're screaming the guy's trying to steal the towels from you. And he says, now you left us below Sadi, and you rented it to him without any witnesses. You told me this guy's a thief, and then you walked out, you trusted him. We don't believe you. You're an idiot. We can't believe you. The only reason he's got it is you gave it to him. You understand? Your behavior contradicted itself. 5 minutes ago, you tell us he's trying to steal your towels. We told you, sorry, nothing we could do. You both get half. Then you walk out together, and then you tell him you gave it to him without witnesses? I don't believe you. It says. Okay, now. But the main point is what? We still haven't proven what's the law in our case. When one guy grabbed it in front of us, and the guy's first quiet and then screamed, we don't know what the law is. Okay, or I could read the Brisa another way, also that doesn't prove the point. It's simple, it's literal. One guy is like the originally thought. Only one guy comes in holding the talents. No, so what's the then? What's the other guy saying? The other guy is fighting. Okay, he's trying to get a hold of it. As they walk in, one guy's holding it, and the other guy's trying to get it. He's fighting for it. Okay. Remember, Sumchus is the most lenient. Sumchus is the most lenient we know in terms of dividing money. Sumchus says any time that the case is in doubt, we split. Okay, even Sumchus, and our mission is not so lenient. We don't split without swearing, all etc. Even Sumchus, who's the most lenient in this case, who says that you split below shua without any oath. Modu Sumchus. In this case, even Sumchus agrees what the circle of klumi. Fighting is not. Now, what's the point? You have to understand. What's very important. What do you think? Sumchus just hold every time people fight over something, you split it. There'll be no life. Every 2 minutes, the guy walks in and says, "Hey, that guy's thing's mine. Split it. Hey, that's mine. Split it." Yeah, there'll be no possession. So Sumchus never said such a thing. Sumchus didn't say every time two people fight over something that you divide it. Sumchus says when a case is in doubt. And I'll explain what the difference is. Do you remember what's our classic case? The case was that there was a pregnant cow, and an ox gored it, and we found a dead baby next to the cow. We don't know if the baby was in the cow when it was born, or was out of the cow, or was born before. There, it's not the doubt in the case is not brought about by the claims of the litigants. It's brought about by the case itself. We saw from afar that the ox gored the cow, and we collectively can't know whether the baby was born before or after. The case is in doubt. We're not in doubt because they're screaming. We're in doubt because the case is in doubt. But when people are when the doubt about the case is because two people are arguing, that even Sumchus doesn't split. That's the point we're saying over here. So over here, the fact that the fact that they walk in and one guy's home, one guy's fighting, so you might think it's similar to Sumchos. Maybe the case is in doubt. No, that's not a case in doubt. That's just two people screaming. And two people screaming is not a doubtful case. The guy's in possession, and goodbye, Charlie. Okay, that's the point. But still, we haven't solved our case. The teams now get ready. Now we're coming to a very hard piece, but I'm gonna try. Like I said, I'm gonna make believe it's not so hard. I'm gonna make believe it's not hard. What's the question? We have the question of when a guy's quiet and later screams, we don't know what the answer is. Do we leave it in the possession of the guy who grabbed it and say that retroactively the silence from the beginning was admission or not? We don't know. Okay, good. But let's examine the ramifications. And this is classic learning language. Sometimes when I can't solve a thing directly, I solve it indirectly. Let me look, I don't know if A or B is the result. Let me examine the ramifications of A. Let me examine the ramifications of B. This is a classical Talmudic way of analyzing. You understand what I'm saying? You're right, I don't know. But maybe if I look at sometimes when I examine what the ramifications are, since I can preclude a ramification, I can solve the original doubt. This is classic Talmudic thinking. Very important. Okay? There's more than one way to skin a cat, Rabbosai. You understand? When I can't solve a problem head on, I can solve it with dealing with the ramifications. Huh? What? Right. Okay, but remember, we're going to try and use that. Right. So a lot of these things are exactly. So that's the speculation. But over here, my point is like this. Let's say I say to you, I don't know if what I'm looking at is a sunspot, is a distortion because of sunspot, or what I'm seeing is real. It happens a lot of times. Astronomers have this problem all the time. They observe a phenomenon in the sky. It could be that they're seeing what they're seeing. It could be what they're seeing is an illusion. They're not really seeing what they're seeing. So I say, you know what? Let's take the ramifications. If it was really this, would this be true or that? What's that? Since that can't be true, this wasn't true. That's what I'm trying to say to you. There are times where the ramifications will prove a point that it's impossible. The ramification of this being true is something that we all know is impossible. So therefore, the point that I couldn't prove directly, I proved indirectly. That's my okay now. So let's take a look. We don't know when the guy's first quiet when the guy grabs it, but and then screams. We don't know whether we leave in the possession of the grabber or not. Okay, Gemara says, okay, well let's say let's make believe we knew. Let's say we knew that if one guy grabbed it in front of us, the case that we said, where the guy's quiet and then screams, the halacha is that we say no, the guy never admitted, and we take it out of the hand of the grabber, we return the original status quo, they're both in possession. Okay, then I'm going to say the following. Higdisha, what would happen in this case? And let's assume that that's the case. You take it out of his hand. We say what? It wasn't really, he had no right to, there never was admission. Okay, Higdisha and Mekudeshes. Okay, we're going to say what then? What happened if like this? Instead of one of them grabbing it, one of them said, what? You know what? I'm donating it to the temple. I'm sick of this. I don't want to have a fight. It belongs to the base of English. Goodbye. I win no matter what. I win. I gave a donation to the shul. It's a donated to the base of English. One of the guys holding the towel says, I donated to the base of English. So now, if the rule is if one guy grabs it, we leave it in his hand. Okay. What if the guy is silent when he dedicates it, and then later when the base of English will come to when the treasurer will come to get it, he's screaming. The answer is what? So the same way that if it was that when he grabbed it, we let him keep it. So the same thing over here, then the hagdash will be a good hagdash. If you'll say what, that if the guy grabs it, in the case that we said that we don't take it out of his hand, okay? Pardon me. Yeah, what's that? If we said that when he grabs it, he keeps it, that we take it out of his hand. I'm sorry, I better said it backwards. Let me read it again from the top. In Tim Salom, if you say if you say what if he grabbed it, we take it out of his hands, which means retroactively, retroactively we say what that the admission was no admission, ain't no kudeshes. So then if one of them would have dedicated to the temple, it's not a dedication. Same case. It doesn't work. In Tim Salom, if we'll say Talk about but if we say if the guy grabbed it under the circumstance that we said that he keeps it, he says he dishon below takva. Okay, if he's dedicated without grabbing it, mahu, what's the law? Do we say kaven to Omar Mar? Now, what do I say? I still have a problem. Why is that? Do I say kaven to Omar Mar? Had you told me, since we have a rule that when you dedicate, usually when I want to transfer ownership to somebody, there needs to be an active acquisition. He has to pay. Yeah, exactly. But I said we're good. Okay, but here's the point. But we have a rule. When I want to transfer something to you, you have to make a kinyan. You have to pick it up. We have all kinds. We have to have an active acquisition. But we said when it comes to the temple, the second I dedicated it, it's as if it was acquired because God gets everything. So the second I say it belongs to the base of English, it's already. I don't need any more active acquisition. What's out? Good. So I said here. So now, look, take a look though. So do we say what? Do I say that since it's only assumption we say what? That if the guy grabs it, he keeps it. In our case, then when he dedicates it, I'm still not sure. Why? Why am I not sure? Because on the one hand, I say what? That you don't need an active acquisition. And the second, he said it, it's like he gave it to the God, commanded to talk with them. So saying it belongs to the temple is the equivalent of what? Of him having grabbed it. If grabbing is good, do I say that it's as if he grabbed it and it goes to the temple? Oh, no. Hashtam Nielo Tokva. Since he didn't grab it, okay, Ulsiva, we learn what's the rule, exactly what you just said here. When it comes to dedicating, a person who makes his house dedicated to be holy, belongs to the temple, just like his house is in his possession, we've learned this earlier. Oh, in order to, it's something that's not in your possession, even if it's not in your control, you can't dedicate to the temple. Which would exclude this case, the lower shoe, so it's not it. Now, I'm going to summarize because it's going to be hard otherwise. This is the question. If we know that once the guy grabs it, it's his, on the assumption that it's his, do we say that retroactively it was really in his possession before or not? That's the question. Even if we say it's his once he grabbed it, do we say that retroactively it really shows us that even before it was really his? So therefore, if he dedicated it, it was really in his control. And therefore what? The dedication is good. Or do we say no? Even if he grabbed it, we leave it. That's not enough to say what? That before it was really his control. So that's the question we're going to deal with then out to the end of the page. Okay? That's the question. Does the fact that he gets it after the fact, once he grabbed it, show that earlier it was essentially really in his possession or not? Okay.
The other guy screaming, it's fine. It's not really.
Okay, remember, the guy was silent originally and screamed later. Yeah, he was first silent and then screamed. So that's the case over here. The case over here, same thing. So do we say what? Since if on the assumption that once he grabbed it, we retroactively interpret the silence as an admission, do we say that's enough to say also that if he dedicated it, it was really what in his?
The other guy
No, but wait. But remember, we did award in the simple case when it's not dedicating, we awarded it to the guy who grabbed it. That's the point. So since we awarded it, maybe that really reflects retroactively that it was enough in his control to dedicate it. That's the question. Get ready, okay? So this is the famous problem. In a case on the assumption that we do give it to the guy who grabbed it, and we do retroactively interpret the silence as what? As admission. Do we say that the same way that we retroactively interpret the silence as admission, do we say that that the object was sufficiently in his control to dedicate? Okay. Now, so the Gemara says, let's take a look. Here's a great question. I'm going to have a case that was exactly like that. He says, once really happened. Toshma, come here. Ahi Masusa. There was once a certain bathhouse. Not everybody had showers like that today. People bathed in a bathhouse. A guy in a bathhouse. Now, not to the tray. Two people argue who it belongs to. One guy said that bathhouse belongs to me. Amadidu says it belongs to me. Who knows? It was an inheritance. Who knows what the fight was? So one of them got fed up, obviously. But he gets up. He says, what? Why? He says, okay, I'm donating to the base of English. Okay? And it's the same thing. It's the same case. The guy was quiet. His opponent was quiet. And when the treasurer came to grab it, he starts screaming, no, it's really mine. It's really mine. So therefore, so what happened? That's the case. All the rabbis did stop going to the bathhouse. They're afraid maybe it's temple property. They don't want to misappropriate. They don't want to go bathe there. So Rav Oshi said, listen, do me a favor. When you go to Kafri and see the great Rabbi Chisda, he says, ask him what's the halacha? Is this thing dedicated or not? It's exactly our case. Exactly our case. He got to the surah, but before he ever got there, before he ever got all the way to Kafri to talk to Rav Chisda, when he got to surah, Amalei Rav Hamnuna said, wait a second, I'll tell you what to do. I know. Rav Hamnuna says, I know what to do. He says, Masnizini. It's a famous Mishnah. Now, okay. And what is he going to say? What? We have, that firstborn animals, really firstborn kids also, but firstborn animals belong to the Kohen. They belong to the Kohen. And a firstborn donkey, you have to redeem with a sheep, and that sheep goes to the Kohen. Okay, firstborn kosher animals go to the Kohen. Firstborn donkeys are redeemed with a sheep, and you give that to the Kohen. So you learn the following. He says, I'll show you I can solve the problem with this bathhouse and the whole problem. Sofik Bechoros, he says, if I have a question of whether something was really a firstborn or not, Echad Bechor Adam, I don't care whether it was a human firstborn, Echad Bechor Behema, whether it was an animal firstborn, Bein Tahorim, whether it's from kosher animals, Bein Tameim, whether it was from a donkey, and it's the sheep. And we don't know if this was really a Bechor or not. If it's a Bechor, belongs to the Kohen, not a Bechor, belongs to the Israel. Hamotzi Mechabeiro Olav. The rule is that you have to prove the point, okay? And it stays wherever it is. So if the Kohen wants to get it, the Kohen has to prove what? That it's a firstborn, okay? If the Kohen forgot it for some reason, then the Israel has to prove that it's not a firstborn. But Tani law, we learned about this Mishnah, Asurim Begiza Bavoda. In the meantime, so what if okay, and therefore what? And if the Kohen grabbed it, okay, the Israel, if the Kohen grabbed it, the Israel has to prove what? That it's not a Bechor. In the meantime, even if the Kohen didn't grab it, but they remain we have to treat them like a Bechor, okay? That you're not allowed to shear them and you're not allowed to do work with them. Now, 1 second. The assumption here is that the holiness of the Bechor really comes because of the Kohen. And because it's the Kohen's property. We're going to say later differently. But here we're arguing that the holiness of the Kohen really is in the Kohen. 1 second, you just told me to kafal Kohen. You just told me what if the Kohen grabbed it, we can't take it back from him. The Yisrael has to bring a proof. And nevertheless, you see the katani mozzarella rayu, because we saw what we said. If whoever is extracting from the other one has to bring a proof. So if the Kohen grabbed it, the Israel has to bring a proof. The chilo to kafo. Nevertheless, we showed me if he grabbed it, it's his. And yet, when he didn't grab it, asur begiz avoda, they're still forbidden. What they're forbidden they're forbidden to shear and forbidden to do work with. So I'm showing you that whenever after the fact we leave it in the guy's possession. That even before, so to speak, it reveals that what it was really his. Otherwise, the Bechor wouldn't be holy. We're assuming that the holiness of the Bechor comes from the ownership of the Kohen. So since if the Kohen grabbed it, it's his. It's his. That's why what? That's why it's holy even if he didn't grab it. Oh, so we solved our problem. Any case where you say if the guy grabbed it, it's his, it shows you there was sufficient in his possession before to become holy. We solved our problem. If he says it's Hegdish, it's Hegdish. And the bathhouse is holy. Once you leave it in the guy's possession, it's over. Okay, now. So Gemara says, get out of here. So that was Rav Hamnuna. So Rabbah said, nah. He said, Rav Hamnuna, that's not a proof. He says, you didn't prove your point. Why? He says, how can you bring me a proof from the holiness of a firstborn? It's no proof. I can say to you, I can tell you the opposite. It's not even true what you said. The truth is, first of all, even he says, if that thing's holy regardless. You think it's holy because if the Kohen got it, we don't take it out of his hand. First of all, the truth is that we do take it out of his hand. That's number one. We do. That's not the halacha, but that's not the point. Regardless, I'm telling you that even if we did take it out of his hand, it would still be holy. It's not holy because he's in possession. That's another point. We'll talk about. But remember, if it's not holy, then he can't. But here's the point: they're forbidden anyway. Why? Shani, he says, why is that? Shani, okay, but why? He says the kedusha, Shani. Here, the holiness of a Bechor comes from itself. It's not from the Kohen. So the point is, your whole proof is no proof. But here's the main point. He says, okay, first of all, you're wrong. He says, the fact are we take it out of his hand. That's not even halacha anyway. But even if, regardless, the fact, even if according to you, the fact that we don't take it out of his hand is not the reason why it's holy. That it's essentially his, like you're learning. No, it's holy because it's holy. The holiness of the heart doesn't come from the Kohen. It comes because God said it's holy. Period. The main point here is what Hashem, God decreed. God decreed that the firstborn is holy. He decreed that it's holy, and it's the possession of the Kohen. Not that because it's the possession of the Kohen that it's holy. The opening was what saying Rabbah. In other words, Rav Amnuna was learning that the holiness comes because the Kohen owns it. So that we can solve our problem. You see, any place where you let him keep it afterwards or before it was really his, we solve that. He says, get out of here. That thing has that holiness and that has nothing to do with the ownership of the Kohen. Okay, that's it. Now, take a pause.
You said you were going to make it easy.
Believe me, this is easy compared to what it would be. I would love to. The greatest scholars in Jewish history have written endlessly on this piece, endlessly. We could have a whole course of it. Beautiful. Anyway, I'm cheating left and right. I don't mean I'm being dishonest, but I'm cheating. I'm making it look like it's not easy at all. It's terrible. It's wonderful. It's terrible. It's a wonderful, terrible piece. Okay, now, but at this point, take a pause. We basically have a face-off. Rav Amnuna said that if the Kohen grabs it, he keeps it. And Rabbah said it's not true. It's not true. We take it out of his. Now we just want to talk about this point alone. Do we take it away from the Kohen or we don't? That's what we're up to at this point. Okay, we're a little bit of a sidebar. Okay, we tried to solve our problem. So far, we have not. Okay, we tried to bring a proof in this case. We didn't bring a proof. So we still don't know in the case of assuming that the guy grabbed it, what would be the case if assuming that the guy grabbed it in front of us and the guy was quiet and then screamed and we leave it in his hand, we still don't know what happens if the guy, instead of grabbing it, sanctified it. Good. But in the meantime, we just had a face-off about this point. If the Kohen grabs, in this case of the doubtful firstborn, does the Kohen keep it or not? Good. Let's take a look. So the Gemara says, 1 second. He says, Amar le Rav Chanina Rabbah. He says, really? He says, you know what? Your argument against Rav Amnuna, that you believe that the Kohen grabs it, we take it away from him, okay, that we take it away from him. I can support what you said. You're really right. Even though over there it looks like the halacha is what? That we leave it with the Kohen. I'll show you you're right, that in the end that we take it away. Okay, Tanya de Messiah. I have a price that supports you. Because he says, Hasveikos, we have to learn, what if we have sheep that were given in place of a donkey, but we don't know if the donkey was really a firstborn. So the sheep that we're using, okay, is really a doubtful holy sheep. We don't know. We don't know. We're not sure if that. How do we have a doubt about firstborn? We know if the mother gave birth before, it didn't give birth. She was pregnant, but it wasn't really. There was no fetus there. With all kinds of possibilities. So what do? Those doubtful ones, we don't know if it's really a Bechor or not. Now, there's a second rule. Remember, Bechor is one rule, it goes to the Kohen. There's a second rule. Every Jewish person, each year when the sheep are born, I have to give what? 1/10 of those sheep. So I have to take all the sheep, put them in the corral. I start counting. 1, 2, 3. When the 10th one comes out, I spritz paint on it. And that one is like, it has the rule like Meiser Sheni. Take it to Shalayim and we eat it. So now I have to take Meiser from my sheep. And now here, this sheep was on a doubtful donkey. So I don't know, is this sheep my sheep or is it the Kohen sheep? If it's the Kohen sheep, what? If it's the Kohen sheep, I don't have to, it's not eligible what? For tithing, to take 1/10. It's not mine. If it's my sheep, it's eligible for tithing. So what do? I have a sheep. The Kohen's obviously going to say, what? That sheep's mine. That donkey really needed was really a firstborn. I say, no, that donkey wasn't the firstborn. It's mine. No, what do I do with that sheep? You know what? Put it into the corral with all the other sheep that you're taking Meiser from. What do you mean? Why? Maybe it's the Kohen's. So look what it says. Nichnasin ledir. I put them in with all the other sheep this aser to take a tithe, and I count them out. And he says, why? How can that be? If you think like Rav Hamnuna said, that if the Kohen grabs it, he keeps it. Okay, the doubtful firstborn. If you think that, Why should I put the doubtful sheep into the corral to take a tenth from? Okay, he says, what do you mean? What do you mean? That's crazy. Then if that sheep comes out at number 10 and I'm going to take it, I'm going to be exempting my sheep with somebody else's money. That's not good. That sheep wasn't chayiv to be meiser. So you see what? So therefore what? So you see, so clearly what? So it must be what? It must be that if the coin grabs it, what? It doesn't belong to him. And really what? It must be what? If the coin grabs it, it doesn't belong to him. 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 And therefore the mice is good mice. Abai says, slow down. Abai says, nice try. Nice try defending Rabbah against Rav Hamnuna, but it doesn't work. If that's your reasoning, look to silent. I'm sorry, you can't help the master now. That's nice try, but it's not a good proof. Because I could say the case where we put those doubtful firstborns into the corral is not the case that you said. You think it's a case where what if it comes up, you're using your friend's money to do it, and you proved your point. No, he says, to go into Leslie Elatisha Bahu, the guy only has 10 sheep altogether, 9 that are his, and 1 that's the doubtful firstborn. So he says what? He says, and now, of course, it doesn't prove your point. We don't know who it belongs to, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Why? The fact that he can use it doesn't prove that it wouldn't be the coins if the coin grabbed it. No, it doesn't matter whose it is. It'll work out. Why? Because of the doubt. The manashach, however you look at it, it's going to be fine. Why? If this number 10, which belongs to the Kohen, really belongs to the Israelite, okay, Shapar Meiser, so they gave Meiser properly. And if number 10 really belongs to the Kohen, it's not obligated to be Meiser, then he never was obligated to take 10 from the other 9. He didn't have 10 sheep. You see what's happening? So he says the case is innocuous. It proves nothing. You assume the guy's got 100 sheep and he put the coin sheep in, the daffodil sheep in there, and therefore it proves your point. No. The reason why we put it back in was because it doesn't make a difference. Either it's his and he took Meiser properly, and if it's not his, he never had to take Meiser because he only had 9 sheep. So what we do? So you say we disarmed your case. Okay. So now that's